Yes.
Okay. Yeah. So today we will be seeing core module. Okay. Let me open recent one. Yeah. As we discussed yesterday, right? We understand where Spring modules will fit into our application development. We understand MVC security we use part of controller and AOP transactions will use it as part of business. Jdbc, ORM, Spring Data will be using as part of repository development. And Spring Core is the main module which can able to create objects and maintain the objects. Not only creating objects and maintain the objects, dependency injection, all other things it will be taking care. So this is the base module that we should start with first so that we can able to learn any other module on top of it. Okay, we will be starting with Spring Core module. We will be starting Spring Core module, or I would say IOC. It's okay, you can call core or IOC, core module. As part of this core module, okay, we will learn main things, right? We will learn about containers. We will learn about containers. This is the first thing that we should understand. And dependency injection concept, dependency injection, life cycles, bean life cycles concepts, auto wiring, etc. There are many concepts. Okay, we will be learning 20 plus concepts from the core module only. Okay, so the first and foremost thing that we should understand is containers. Okay, from here our journey will start. We should start from containers. Once you understand the containers, right, it is easy to you to do other, concepts easily. Let's try to understand about containers. What are they and how they are useful to us? Okay, as you know, right, as you know, to run any application, right, we develop application as a developer. You are a developer. Okay, you design a application. You designed and developed a application. Your entire team has done one application here. As a developer, you implemented an application. I implemented one web application. If I do this in servlets, if I develop this in servlets, okay, if this web application, if I implement using servlets concepts, right? If I implement the same by using servlet concepts, let me just a minute. If I implement this web application by using simple servlets and JSP's concepts, if I go with them, okay, I need a container to deploy it. I need a container to deploy it by using servlets and JSP if I design. Okay, so where should I deploy this? I need to convert this application, right, as a WAR file. I need to package this application as a web archive file and I need to deploy it into a server like Tomcat. We need web server basically. You can call it as web server. You need a web server. Web server is available from Tomcat. It is open source, you can use. Or WebLogic and WebSphere JBoss also have. They also have web server. Servlet container they have. So we can use servlet container to run this WAR file. Finally, your application will be packaged into a WAR file. Okay, let's say if it is something like student management system dot WAR file we will convert, and we put that WAR file into web server like your Tomcat WebLogic. They can run your WAR file. And the same thing will happen if you go with Struts kind of framework, Struts or JSF, or by using your Spring MVC. If you use your Spring MVC also, same thing. We will be converting it into same WAR file. End of the day, the output file will be same. We will be converting into WAR and we deploy it into web server. When this will be happening after your development. After your development, this is happening. As a developer, you coded everything in your local machine. And finally, whenever you want to deploy, this is happening. And if you go with the Spring Boot, right, it will provide you two options. Okay, you can convert it into WAR file and you can deploy wherever you want. This is one option. When you go with Spring Boot, you have two options. You can make it a WAR file and deploy. Or you can do this as well. You need not to have WAR. You can convert it into jar also. You can convert it into jar. And this jar can be run on default web server. Tomcat is a default web server that inbuilt available in Spring Boot. You need not to have, of course, web server only we will use like Tomcat, but it will come inbuilt with your Spring Boot. You need not to acquire any special server here. Simple jar file you can run, and you need not to put it into web server. By default, web server also will be part of your jar file. Just you need Java runtime here. JRE is sufficient. Simple JRE is sufficient to run your web application. Okay, your web application can be a jar file. That jar can be run on your Java runtime environment. You need not to have any server. Anyway, that we will see it in Spring Boot. Now we understand that to run any application, you need a server, you need a container, right? You need a server, or you can call container. Okay, you need a server. Without server, we cannot able to run them. What generally the servers will do? If I develop my application in servlets, if I do this in servlets and JSP, what my web server like Tomcat will do here? Do you know the responsibilities, or do you know the duties of Tomcat when you deploy servlets application? Most of you are aware, right? Once you deploy WAR file and when you start your Tomcat, it will extract your classes from WAR file first step. Then it will create objects for your servlets, correct? Who will create objects for servlet? You will not create directly. You will be writing servlet classes and you configure the servlet classes in one web.xml file. And when you deploy your servlet application here, Tomcat will create objects. Whatever classes you implement, for that classes, objects are mandatory. Without object, no class will survive apart from static. So to create object for your servlet classes, Tomcat will help you, which means Tomcat will create objects. Same thing here. Even in Spring Boot also, Tomcat will create objects for you. But the Tomcat is embedded Tomcat. Spring Boot is having embedded Tomcat. It will create objects for your Spring Boot classes or whatever classes you implement. So we need a container. We need a container who can take care of creation of objects. Now let's go back to your MVC. As I said yesterday, right, in Spring application specially, apart from the views, okay, apart from views, controller classes, model classes, right? These all are the classes. Class journey will start from controller layer, right? Views, for views, classes are not required. We simply design them in HTML, CSS, JavaScript, right? Or JSP, Angular, React, or Android, iPhone UIs, anything can be designed here in Vue. And our classes journey will start from controller layer. Our classes journey. You will be writing classes from here, controller. Maybe here, some Spring MVC classes you will be writing, or Spring security classes you will be writing here. And coming to model layer, some business code you will be writing here, and some repository logic you will be writing here, right? In Java, you know that without object, we can't able to call methods of your business or methods of your repository. Here you may use AOP, transactions. Here you may use Spring Jdbc, Spring ORM, or Spring Data JPA. You may go with anything, any concepts you may use for your repository business controller classes. Okay, you may use any module. And in which style you will implement them? As a simple POSO classes, we will implement them. Plain Java class, not a complicated class, simple plain classes. Your model layer classes and your controller layer classes will be like a simple POSOs, your model layer and controller layer classes. Your business also a simple POSO. Your repository also you will be designing like a POSO class. Plain Java class, which is not inheriting anything or not extending anything, not implementing anything. Simple POSO classes. Repository can be a simple POSO, business also a simple POSO, controller also a simple POSO. Who will be creating, see, generally in flow, right? If you are doing some registration from here, if you are sending some data, name, email, address, some data, if you are submitting from your presentation layer for doing registration, something. This is your registration form. If you consider from here, I'm submitting this data. Where you should read this data, first point of contact is your controller only. You need to read data here. Once after reading this data, this is one class. From this class to this class, if you want to send this data, how you will send in general? Here after reading this data, if you want to send, consider this controller class is A. Consider this class is A. and this business class is B. I would be expecting answer from everyone here. So I read data, something name, email, address data. I'm reading from user. Okay. And this data I am reading here. Once after reading, I want to send data to B. How you will send it? In general, if you use CoreJava concept.
Create object for class B.
Create object of
Class
class
B.
B. So B class object you need to create here. So, okay. Step by step, I will write, okay. I received first thing, first step I enter some data in view and submitted. Okay, this is the first step I did. And this data, what we need to do, once you enter the data and submit, controller said what you need to do, read data in controller, second step. Now what is the third step? After data reading, I need to send it to business class B. From here I need to send it to repository class C. Final repository need to call this table, which is there in database. In this table, I want to keep the data. So now as a third step, what I should do here, I got the data till here. From here, I want to send it to B class. Something here, I have a method called register. To that register method, I need to send the data. And here I have a method called save CRUD operation. From there, I need to send data to save method. Now to call register method of B, what I should do in A? I need to, first step, create object for B class. Correct? Without creating B class object in A class, in class A. In class A. So I need to create object for B class in class A. Correct? Okay. Remember this step. And what about next step? After creation of B object in A class, here I will create. Okay. So maybe this is how I will create in B class, right? Sorry, in A class, I'll create B class object B equal to new B. Then next, what I should do inside A class to call
Use
register
that method.
method? B dot, I will call register method. And as a input, I'll send the data. Data I'll pass as a input to B class. Okay. Now my data will start journey from A class to B class. My data will go from here to here. Correct? Now, what I should do in business class? From here again, I need to send data to repository class. So as a fourth
Create class
step,
C object.
class create object for, in B class, I need to create object for which class? C class, correct? Create object for C class in class B. Inside B class, I need to create object for C class, correct? Okay. Before this, create, after creation of object rise, call B class methods. Okay. Now as a fifth step, I'll create object for C class inside B class. This C class object I'll create inside B class, and I will call C class methods. I'll be creating object for C class inside B Then I'll call c dot save and I'll pass data here, right? B class will be created C class object and we will be passing data to C. So from B to journey will start to C. So my data will go till C class. And then C class needs to save data into table. This table and database is not a Java class or Java object. So we cannot able to create this table object here directly. Instead, what we do, we get connection from database and we give SQL query to database here. So inside your C class, what you will do, connection object you will be creating. You will be creating connection driver manager dot get connection something. Then you will be creating statement connection dot something create statement. Then you will be calling statement dot something execute update your query SQL query you will be passing here. So then your data journey will start from here till database. So this is how your data will flow from presentation layer to database layer, correct? Create statement object and execute SQL query in C class. So then the job will be finished. Whatever task, whatever data you have submitted, that data finally will be saved permanently into your table. So from here, data will go till here. This is the flow. If you use plain CoreJava approach, this is how you need to do. You need to create object and you need to pass data. And from here again, you need to create object and you need to pass that data to next layer. From here again, you need to create statements and you need to pass that data via SQL to your database table. So the main two important points I want to stress here, that is what I mean, what is that here is creation of objects. Two important things, right? Creation of object we are doing manually here by using new keyword or by using something driver manager or create statement something. This object creation task we are doing here, but in Spring you are not going to do this. If A class needs B class object, excuse me, Spring will say, don't create any object yourself. I will create it for you. You don't create B object. Just leave this task for me. What Spring will do? It will create object for you. This step it will avoid, create objects, right? Whatever it is doing here, create objects. From A class to B class, whenever you wanted to call, you need not to create this object. From B class to C class, whenever you wanted to call, you need not to do this step. Okay, this and this you need not to do. Object creation is not required. This step also you need not to do. And if you want connection and statements, even you should not do this. All object creation tasks will be taken care by Spring. Okay, in Spring, object creation tasks will be taken care by your Spring. You need not to create any objects. You never create any object by using new keywords directly. Who will do that for you? Spring will do that for you. Who will create objects for you? As I said before, for servlets, who is creating objects? Tomcat. So whoever do the task, we call them like servers or containers. So in Spring, this objects creation will be taken care by Spring IOC container. Who will do this for you? Spring IOC containers. Containers will do that. Spring IOC container, we call it as IOC container. This IOC container will take care of object creation. You need not to do. IOC container will create objects. Okay, IOC container is creating object. That is good. A class object, B class object, C class, everything you are saying IOC will create. Good. Then if I wanted to talk A class, if it wants to talk with B class, and B class if it want to talk with C class, or C if it wants to communicate with database, how that objects will be available for me? Earlier, I was creating objects so that by using that object reference, I may able to call it B class object I created in my A class. So by using B class object reference, I was able to call it. Here B reference I have, so I can able to call it. Here C class reference I have, so I can able to call it. Here connection reference and statement references I have, so that I can able to call database. But now object itself I am not creating. From where this reference will be available for me? You are saying container is creating object. So then how it will available for me?
XML file.
So whatever it is, finally, physically that object reference should be available for you. In A class, you need B class object. In B class, you need C class object. Without that object reference, we can't call, right? I have phone and you have phone. If you want to call to me, you should have my number. Otherwise, you can't able to call me. So here, A class wants to call B class, which means A class must and should have B class object. I am saying object creation task is taken care by IOC container. I was saying I will create object. Otherwise, I'm simply asking you, I'm asking you to avoid this object creation yourself. Okay, sir, I will stop it creating. Then your next question is who will create? I'm saying IOC will create. Okay, sir, good, IOC creating. Then, sir, how to call from A class to B class? You are saying IOC creating, but I need that object now here. Without that object, I can't call B class now. How I will get it? That should be your next question. Okay. You are saying object is creating, but I need that object. B class object, I need it in A class. And C class object, I need it in B class. Who will provide it to me? Container will provide. Okay. By using which concept it will provide? Objects creation container will do. A object, B object, C object, who will do? Container will do. How it will do? Just to, as you said, right? We configure all that classes in a XML file. In advanced approach, we don't use even XMLs also. For time being, consider you have a XML file. We configure A class, B class, C class in XML file. There is a tag. Every XML will have tags, right? You know that. XML will have tags like your HTML. So using bean tag, we configure A class here. We will configure B class here. And we will configure C class here. And all the database related. Let's say if you need a connection here, something data source, we configure here. A class, B class, C class, D class, I mean, the connection provider classes, everything we configure it in XML file. Well, so I configured all the classes. Then what next? You need to load this XML file it into, IOC container class. There is a class, IOC container class. You need to give this XML file as an input to this IOC. You need to give this XML to IOC. Now, whenever you start this, whenever you start this IOC will do what? First, it will read your XML file. It will read and parse it. Generally, XML files need to be parsed, right? So it will parse it. It will read and parse. Means just it will remove all the tags and whatever properties it needs, that properties it will get it. Which means your class A, B, C, D. It will read all your classes. Once after reading them, it will create objects for you. It will do read, then parse, then it will create objects. It will create objects for you. Until here, very good. It is creating objects for you. A object, B object, C object is created. But to call C class methods from B class or to call B class methods from A class, I need that object. Container, you are creating object, but I need that. How you will provide it to me? Then you are in IOC, they given concept called dependency injection. Okay, so using that dependency injection concept, whatever C object created here, right? This C object will be given to B. And this B object will be given to A. What we call this concept? Dependency injection. Using this dependency injection, whatever objects IOC will create, right? That objects will be given to you. Then you can perform your job here. Via dependency injection, object will be given to you. I am creating object. If I create object, that I need to provide it to you. Otherwise, you cannot able to utilize it. As a container is creating object and you need that object. So for that purpose, what it will do? It will provide it to you via dependency injection. Whatever objects created, that object will be shared with you wherever you want. For A class, I need B object. So B object, it will inject into A class. For C object, for B class, you need a C object. So C object will be injected into B class. You understand it, right? In general, whenever you wanted to call a method from one class to another class, you need to create object for that class and you need to call a method. But in Spring, you are not going to do that. Objects will be created for you. We'll do that. Your IOC container will create objects. And if that object required here to call that particular class method, via dependency injection, that object will be provided to you. Just for that purpose, you need to create one variable reference of that particular class in your A class. Same thing in B class. C class reference you need to create. Just here you need to create your data source, which will provide connections. That's it. All that objects will be given to you. This database object also, it will acquire connection from database, and as a data source, it will provide it to you. You may ask, what is the benefits are? I know how to create objects by using new keyword. Then what is the benefit it is doing? Lot of benefits. One by one, that benefits we will see. Okay. If you are not doing this means, it is doing it for you. Not only object creation, many other things also it will do it for you. Okay. One by one, you will understand easily. Okay. For now, what you need to understand from this concept is object creation is not required. Direct object creation anywhere, it is not required. Who will do it for you? Object creation will be handled by your IOC container. Then whatever objects are created, that objects will be given to you via dependency injection. Whatever objects it will create, that will provide it to you via dependency injection. So that particular class object will be available for you. So you can call. so that whenever I pass data from here, now I will use that injected object and I will call register method. Same way, C class object also via dependency injection came to me. I can use that object and I can call save method. Same way, database data source object is available for me. Using data source object, I can create statements and I can pass data to database. Somewhat kind of little bit automation we did here. Automatic object creation, automatic dependency injection. Instead you doing it, Spring doing it for you. Okay, instead we doing it, Spring is doing. This is how so many things Spring will handle for us, and it made our job simple. Okay, we'll go one by one concepts. Okay, first, the agenda of this concept is you need to understand why IOC containers are for. Okay, first two features are objects creation and created objects will do dependency injection. Am I clear till here, or you guys understand what is dependency injection now?
Yes, sir.
Okay, we'll discuss more in depth about dependency injection later. Our primary focus is how IOC containers are creating objects. Just a minute. Okay. I'll show you one example. Okay. So for you also, right? You all have Eclipse in your machine. Java, Eclipse. Everyone?
Yes, yes.
Yes. Yes.
Who don't have? Let me know. Yesterday, Rajesh was not available. Today, mostly he will available post lunch. Okay. Rajesh Chari, he will help you. Okay. For the installations. He also part of the session, you can see. So he can help. I'll share his contact with you guys. Okay. Who wants installation? So everyone have Eclipse, right? Eclipse and JRE with you. Okay, good. So what you can do, go to this portal. Yeah.
I don't have now.
Can you install it at least by next session?
Yes, sir.
Okay. So we will do practical session in the in live itself, here itself. Along with me, you also can do it. Once again, I'm sharing the link with you. Okay. So go to this link. Okay, go to this link. I shared link in the chat. Okay. And here, first thing, download jar files. Okay. Step 1, just download jar files. Okay, click on this. We will be getting jar files. Okay, so my download is ready. From Spring Boot onwards, we will see with Maven. Okay, for time being, go with jar files. Okay, this download is done. If not, also fine. Already I downloaded many times, right? Let me see. Spring, sorry. Okay. Here you can see, right? Spring jars. Once you download them, just extract. Come on. Just a minute. Okay. Download and extract that. You will be getting many jar files in it. Okay. First download it and extract it. First step. Download jar files and extract. You need not to do this every time. Okay. Just download it once. Then then download this example, first one. Okay, Spring IOC core container. Download this example as well. Once you download it, right, extract it. Okay, once you extract, go until this source folder, okay? Until the source folder, copy that location, open Eclipse, okay? Open Eclipse. Go to File, Import, General, Existing project into Workspace. Click on Browse. And finally, finish it. This is for your practice, okay? Otherwise, I'll do from scratch, okay? Step by step also I'll show you. So get it here, okay? You will be getting project here. Just to check whether right runtime version you have or not. Properties, compiler. Okay, these jar files are missing. That's why it is showing error. So which jar files are added here? Spring core, beans, commons logging. These 3 jar files are required for core container. Okay, again, containers are 2 types. We will discuss them, okay? So these 3 jar files you need to add. Spring core, spring beans, and commons logging jar. Let me add them. Which jar files? Spring core. Where is it? Spring beans, spring core, and commons logging. Where is it? Commons logging, commons.
Is
Yeah, Apache Commons. Yeah, here you can see. Okay, apply and close. Okay, perfect. Now here I created a simple bean class test. Simple class test. Let me know if font is not visible. I'm increasing it, okay? Just a moment. Yeah, it is visible, right? I created a simple test class with the constructor. Private or public doesn't matter for Spring, okay? Because it can access anything as we see our reflection package, right? Internally, it will use reflection packages. Okay, so here I have constructor. Why I have constructor here is to show you to show you how Spring is creating object. Whenever you try to create object, this statement will be executed. Okay. Now consider this is like your A class, A or B or C class. As per this diagram, consider it as a or B or C, anything. One class. You need to configure your class into XML file. You need to create one XML file. In that XML file, beans is the main root tag. In this beans root tag, there are n number of beans you can configure. So I'm just keeping here one bean class, my test bean class, fully qualified path, package name dot class name, and you can give an ID, not mandatory. Okay, just for identification. If you want to call this using this ID reference, you can call it. Okay, so I configured my bean class. Then next what? You need to load this XML into, once you configure this A, B, C, D classes, what you need to do? You have to load that it into IOC container. Step 1, you will be creating XML file and you are configuring bean classes. Step 2, you need to load it into IOC container. Step 2, you need to load it. Then step 3, you can start it. In step 3, you can start it. So here, how to load? So first to read your XML file. My XML file is there in this resources folder. So I'm reading it. So once after reading it, I'm loading it into my core container. This is the container, first container. Bean factory. You can call it as core container. Load XML into core container. There are two flavors. Okay, there are two flavors. One is core container and one is advanced container. We will go with it later. Okay. Load your XML file into core container. And I'm trying to call this core container dot get bean. There is a get bean method. There is a get bean method. Using that get bean method, I can get this test class object. This object server will provide it to you. I'm loading my XML file into this server and I'm asking server, give me the test class object. It will provide it for you. In case if you want to typecast it into test type, you can typecast and you can call that particular class methods. As of now, there is no method. It's okay. Let's see how it will create object. Right click, run Java application. You can see here test object created. I didn't use any main method. Then who did this for you? Your container. This container is doing it for you. Object is created. I have never used any new keyword. But for us, this bean factory is doing it. How it is doing it? This bean factory getting your XML file here via resources object, and this XML file is having your bean. And then you are calling here using this bean reference T. This is your bean reference. So using that bean reference, you are asking, give me that bean object. Then it will say, okay, wait, I'll create it for you. It will create object and it will provide it to you. It will be provided to you. So that's where you are seeing it is created object for you. It is created object for you. Now, if you have any method in this class, you can comfortably call public void Now, if I want to call this hello method, t dot hello, run. Test object created. This is from constructor output, you can see. And when I call hello method, good morning all, statement is getting here. So your object created and that object given for you. That is what I said here, right? Objects will be created for you and it will provide. Basically, this is not dependency injection. We'll see it later. Here we just got this object. But dependency injection is different. Into one class, another class object, we can able to pass. Okay. So that we will learn later. Okay. So far clear?
So can you explain again this object creation?
Which part?
The object creation part,
This one?
not the method calling, the object creation part.
Yeah. So where do you have doubt? I mean, step by step, once again, I'll tell you, okay? So once you create all your classes here, let's say it can be a controller class or a business class or a service class, whatever it is. Consider this is like your controller or business or service class, test class, okay? Just to create a class, whichever class you want. Then once after creation of your class, just you need to configure that class here. Is it clear until here?
Yes, sir.
Okay, fine. Now I have my classes and I configured all my classes into XML file like this. I have class A, class B, class C. I have all that classes I configured here. Consider time being. I configured all that classes here. Fine. As I said, for this classes, object creation will be taken care by IOC container. I am not doing it. IOC container will do it. Okay. What is IOC container? IOC container is a class. This is your IOC container class. Earlier, containers are available in the form of special softwares. Have you ever imagined Tomcat like this class? No. Tomcat is like a special software that we download and we go to somewhere web apps folder. There we deploy our WAR file. In a special way, they designed Tomcat or WebLogic. These are the servers. But here for us, the container class or server class given in the form of simple Java class only. This is your simple Java class. This is what the container class. So whatever XML file we have here with all our controller, service, business class, everything we will be configuring here. Okay. Time being considered, here you have all your controller classes, service classes, or you may say business classes, and repository classes. Okay, all your classes you will be configuring here. This is comment, okay, XML comment. This is not code, okay, just I commented it. So here my class is there. Consider either it's a test or service, business or repository. Okay, now my class loaded into this container, bean factory. How? Via resource class. Resource class is reading your XML file from class path. I'm not giving any physical fully qualified path here. I'm just giving class path only from your resources folder. Your XML file is there in resources. So from this resources folder, this XML file is reading. Okay, and this XML file reference we are passing here. This is something like your file class. You remember, right? In file input stream, we'll create file object, file f equal to new file, and we will pass the file path. And by using file input stream, we read the file. Same way, we are finding the file first, and we are loading that file here into container. Then container immediate job is what? It will read your XML file Which XML file? This XML. It will read your XML file. How many beans you have here? How many classes we have? Only one class. So it will read that class for you. It will read, or let it be. It will read XML file and it will extract all the beans. Read XML file and extract all bean classes. Just it will extract, it won't create any object. Whenever you call this method, line number 19, we are asking IOC container to give me test class bean, get bean, give me bean of test class. Then it will create object for you. IOC will create object for you in this line. How it will create? Internally, it will use class.forName approach. We have seen, right? If you remember, using class.forName.new instance approach, it will create your object, test class object. And we are just getting that object in the form of test. This method will generally return object type, and we are typecasting it. Object type, typecasting into test type, because this is the test class object. And I'm calling the test class method. Clear?
Yeah, yes. Sir. So basically this XML bean factory is the container.
Yes. Time being, consider this is like your Tomcat container.
Okay.
So that if you compare against servlets, right, you can understand easily how for servlets Tomcat is creating object. Similar way it is doing it for you.
Okay. Sir.
Is this concept simple or more simpler way? Should I try? Do you guys understand?
Yes, sir. Yes, sir.
Yes.
Okay. So till here, if you understand this object creation, good. We will see more, concepts in core container and in advanced container. Okay. There are many concepts. We will discuss about this container 1-2 sessions. You will get the clear idea how singleton objects creating, how prototype objects creating. Is it really good if I go with singleton object, or should I go with prototype objects? All that we will clearly understand by the end of containers discussion, and then we will start dependency injection and all other concepts. Okay. So I would recommend you to, today is what? Today Friday. Okay. So then weekend. I would recommend everyone, please get registered. Okay. And what I will do by today evening, I'll send a poll to everyone. Okay. If you all available for Monday, we will be having session Monday and Tuesday. Or if you all feel that you need long weekend, we will have break for next 4 days. It's your opinion. Okay. I'll hear from everyone and we will take decision. I'm not confirming now that we will be having holiday. Okay, I'll send one poll. Then please get registered. Okay. If at all required, we will have 1 hour session tomorrow. If it is fine with everyone. What do you say? Only for tomorrow.
Okay.
Yeah, good.
Right. So that next 3 days we can have long weekend.
Yeah, sure.
Okay. Sunday, Monday, Tuesday. We will take, maybe morning only, right? So that we are not even breaking our holiday time. Just we'll connect by 8:40 and we'll sharp leave by 9:40. Then you can enjoy your weekend. Yeah.
Tomorrow you class or no?
That is what. Tomorrow we will have a session. Okay.
Okay, thank you.
But you will get the regular link. not this link. Okay.
Okay.
Anymore, this link is not available. Okay.
Okay.
So if you are already done the payment, please send that screenshots to DURGASOFT email ID. Or if you have any problem to reaching out them, send it to me. Okay. I'll make
Okay.
sure that you will get the regular link. Okay. So for tomorrow, you will be receiving one Zoom link. Please join that link. Okay. Anything else? Any doubts? Rajesh also will be available. I'll share his number to everyone. Okay. So you guys can reach out to him for installation or any execution related issues. Okay. He will sort out. Then good. Okay. So let us meet tomorrow on new link. Okay. Till then, yes, Rakesh, anything else?
No, sir. I do my payment today, sir.
Yeah. Please get that regular link. Okay. So yeah, till here the consider demo sessions are done. Okay. We will be jump into the regular part.
Okay, sir.
Yeah. Thank you guys. Okay. Have a good day.
Thank you, sir.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you. Bye.